I'm standing in one of Southampton's most upmarket residential areas by the city's Marina. And it's in this development that the Chancellor Jeremy Hunt owns 7 luxury apartments, which he bought some 5 years ago as buy-to-let investments. Over the past year, the Chancellor has been calling on the public to make sacrifices and urging pay restraint so he can control inflation. But how much has the Chancellor been earning in rent from his flats? And how much has he put that rent up? What kind of pay rise has the Chancellor awarded himself? All that has been kept a closely guarded secret until now. When nurses and other public sector workers were protesting over their shrinking wage packets, Chancellor Jeremy Hunt said he needed to keep a lid on pay rises that might stoke inflation.
Tackling high inflation is the Prime Minister and my #1 priority. We are absolutely committed to supporting the Bank of England, to doing what it takes.
While many have struggled during the cost of living crisis, Hunt himself has not had too much to worry about. As well as earning £159,000 a year for his day job, the multi-millionaire Chancellor has some nice little investments on the side. Well, they're not actually that little. I'm Anthony Barnett, an investigative journalist who's been working with Led by Donkeys and the Daily Mirror to examine Jeremy Hunt's property portfolio. This is the Ocean Village Marina, with its luxury yachts, high-end bars and restaurants, and 7 apartments owned by the Chancellor and his wife. Something that Jeremy Hunt initially forgot to tell the House of Commons authorities about, claiming it was an honest administrative mistake. Hunt now declares his buy-to-let flats in the Parliamentary Register via a company he jointly owns with his wife. Strict rules forbid ministers from having second jobs, but they're still allowed to have shareholdings in companies, and Hunt owns the luxury apartments through Mare Pond Properties Limited. Documents from the Land Registry confirm that in February 2018, the Chancellor and his wife spent £3.57 million on the flats, ranging from £437,000 to £685,000 for the most expensive. We wanted to know how much the Chancellor was charging his tenants and whether he'd been putting up rents. Tenants were nervous about speaking, but we've been able to establish that the rents paid on the 7 flats owned by the Chancellor range from £1,600 to around £2,000 a month, which means that Hunt's company is earning around £150,000 a year from his buy-to-let investments here in Southampton. Given Hunt's warnings on rising prices, had he increased the rents on his own properties? Some residents had heard rents in some apartments in these blocks had been going up sharply. There's no public record of the rents paid to Hunt, and he doesn't have to disclose them. But we've been doing some digging and discovered that last summer one of Hunt's flats was being rented out for just under £1,700 a month. The tenant left, and in August 2022, Hunt put the flat back on the market for £1,850 a month. That's a 9% hike. But with the country facing a housing crisis and a shortage of rental properties, multiple people were interested in the apartment, and Hunt held a bidding war. We've been told that several offers were rejected, and the winning bidder signed for just over £2,000 a month. That's an 18% increase, almost twice the rate of inflation at the time. Remember, this was shortly before Hunt as Chancellor was warning trade unions not to jeopardise the UK's economic recovery by making inflation-stoking pay demands.
I think we have to recognise a difficult truth that if we gave everyone inflation-proof pay rises, inflation would stay. We wouldn't bring down inflation.
So while Hunt wanted sacrifices from the public, it seems he had been less keen on making any sacrifices himself. A spokesman for Jeremy Hunt said all profits from Mare Pond are donated to charity. But how much of Mare Pond's income has actually gone to good causes? Hunt is one of the richest MPs after he sold Hot Courses, the education firm he co-founded, for £14.5 million in 2017. We looked through his company accounts, and they don't provide any clues about donations, but they do reveal Hunt and his wife took out huge loans totaling more than £3.5 million to buy the 7 flats. After interest payments, service charges and other costs, it's unclear how much, if any, might be left over that ends up going to charity. So we asked the Chancellor how much of Mayor Pond's income has gone to charity, when and to which charity. Jeremy Hunt refused to answer. In a few days' time, the Chancellor will stand up in the House of Commons and deliver his mini-budget. Many will be hoping he's as generous to them as he has been to himself.